Well, good evening, everybody. I have to admit that was a little bit of a rough start today, but it's one of those things. I've been off the air for a while, and uh, now I had planned on doing a slightly different show than what I'm going to do tonight. I was going to get into the Lowell prison and some rather disturbing things that have been going on there, but instead, because of a schedule situation, I thought I would go ahead and change the format slightly. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through some um, paperwork that was filed with the court over the past several days. And, you know, basically go into that. And as usual, I just would like someone, if they're in the chat, to give me a sound check to make sure that I'm broadcasting on the, okay, that I'm broadcasting audio. And I'm going to go like I assuming I am and just hope for the best. Now, the Blanchard case is finished. She's been convicted of first degree murder and life in prison, and she's over in the uh, Lowell, what they call the Lowell Reception Center. And this is a women's prison in Ocala, Florida, not far from here. And what's happening is that Neely Blanchard has filed an appeal, a request for appeal with the Fifth District Court in Daytona Beach, Florida, which I expected she was going to do, and everybody suspected she was going to do. And then that's exactly what she's done. And so she's is appealing to the Fifth District Court of Appeal, and this is the judgment that was rendered on April 19th. And so what this means now is that um, basically she's going to the appellate court asking for um, a new trial. And what the appellate court's going to do is they're going to review the case. Both sides have to submit discovery, and they will decide if they are even going to hear the appeal. And then they hear the appeal, and they decide whether or not they are going to grant the appeal. But one thing to notice here is this is her address over in the top left hand corner. And what this doesn't show on this particular piece of paper is her inmate number, which will be something she always goes by. Okay, I was afraid that was going to happen then. Just bear with me. I got to reload the Marion County Court thing because it was inactive, and when it's inactive, they throw you off the system. So I got to go back on the system again. So anyway, while I go through that search, now in uh, the last update, she had been convicted of first degree murder. She was remanded to the Marion County Jail, where she waited until around the 1st of May when she was transferred over into the state correction system. Um, this being Lowell um, Women's Correction Center or Reception Center, which is located in South Ocala. It's actually South Marion County. All right, now we got to figure out. Oh, I see why. Well, that's what I get for trying to do two things at once. Okay, let's try that. There we go. Now it's getting back over in the system. Okay. Okay, now I bring up the next piece of paper here. And I've got to get, this is a rather slow process. Sometimes I get this to work and sometimes I don't, but okay. And now okay. This is the directions to the clerk as given by the Court of Appeals. And this is what comes up. All original documents, all exhibits that are not physical evidence, and any transcripts, and so on and so forth. So this means basically everything has to be turned over to the Court of Appeals by the clerk. And this is the direction to the clerk. And this was done on May 8th. So this was basically 9 days ago that these instructions were given out. And so now we move on to the next instruction. And what this does, now she wants a lawyer. Because you remember through the entire court process last week or last month, she was her own lawyer. And now she decided, I think that I am going to ask for the appointment of a public defender to represent indigent defendant, which means she's broke, as appellate counsel and direct appeal. And this is where she changes her mind because she's saying she's exercising her right to appeal, but she can't afford legal counsel. So she wants the state to provide her with a public defender. And she's saying she has no income, assets, property. She has not divested herself of any income, assets, or property for being declared an indigent and all that. And she signed her name before she refused to sign anything. So now she's signing her name. So there's that. Then we go on to this part, which is basically, and let's be patient here. Now this is when you apply for um, public defender. You have to fill one of these out, and basically she's saying she doesn't have anything, no social security, no retirement, temporary assistance, any of that. And so she has all of this. And In the bottom right hand corner or left hand corner, for those of you who may be interested, she, instead of being known as Neely PETRIE-BLANCHARD, she is now known as A32317. Unless otherwise notified by the guards and anybody giving her instructions, this is her designation. She'll be called by number at all times unless there's a necessity for her to be called by her legal name. And so this is her identification. And so this is basically a form saying I'm broke. So, and these are mostly all formalities. Because what they do is it's just like any other bureaucracy. They go through a bunch of stuff. And this is basically what I'm showing tonight. Um, and so what we have here, as I bring this up, is now that it's going to the Court of Appeals, they changed the case number. And so the case number is going to be known as 5D20241293. And filing date was May 13th, which is 4 days ago. And this is the old case here. A filing fee is waived. And then they go through all this here. This is, if you were paying the filing fee, you would basically read all this. And if you're having an attorney, you must include the bar number, so there will be no necessary agent in this. And we have the administrative order, any party proceed, blah, blah, all that. And so there's that form. And so the only other thing that I haven't gotten yet is an order on motion for appointment of public defender to represent indigent defendant as appellate counsel on direct appeal filed by the judge. So she's basically going to get her free lawyer. And so that's where we're at so far. She's going to represent herself through a appellate lawyer. She can either choose to help the lawyer or just sit back and let the lawyer run the show. And so that's basically where we're at. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to check other information on there. Like I said, I'm on kind of a tight schedule tonight because I wanted to get this information in and not cancel this again. And what I'm going to do is I want to check another case that I'm probably going to start discussing here shortly. And that is the latest on Madeline Soto. And I've got to get discovery and documentation from Osceola County Courthouse, but there's already speculation starting that the mother knew something about what the father would, or the boyfriend was doing. There's always that sort of thing, but I'm not going to get into conspiracy theories. Um, what's going to have to happen um, going on here now? One headline that's coming out from local media. Uh, Jennifer Soto stated while they, well, yeah, this active video and it's going, so I'm not going to be able to. But I'm going to start researching this case and I will be starting to discuss this. Now, the murder trial is probably not going to be until October. And the other charges, the multiple charges of um, child abuse, child molestation, and all that, I'm not sure if that's going forward now or not. That was supposed to have started already. But now the headlines are reading, according to the media, that Madeline Soto slept in Stephen Stern's bed. Now, these are documents that were released regarding her, regarding this case. I don't know why they blanked out. Some of these, they blank out Stephen's eyes, and I don't know why they're doing that. But now they're questioning as to why would Stephen Stevens be allowed to be in the same bed as this child. And that is disconcerting. We're going to have to see what comes out in court. If this is going to be a prosecution issue or a defense issue, and whether or not um, the mother may wind up being charged with something at a minimum, possibly child abuse, but that remains to be seen. Um, so that's where we're at the moment. Um, so what I will do is I will give everybody an update as I go on with this in future live streams. Um, I'm not sure when I'm going to be on next. I'm following anything that might come up in the Blanchard case in the future. I still may do the Death in the Big House video that I had planned for tonight because there's a lot going on at Lowell, and Neely Blanchard may wind up in a bad situation because of the area she's at. But she is going to be at Lowell for at least the next 90 days while they evaluate her, and she may either stay at the reception center or she may be moved to a different institution. And throughout her life, she may wind up going from one institution to the other depending on um, circumstances. Now, she is not in a cell. Florida's women's prisons and most prisons in general at the state level have a dormitory arrangement, which means that basically you take a big room, you fill it full of bunk beds where you have double beds or single beds, and all these inmates are in one enormous room in a particular pod. And that's likely where she's at right now, is in a pod with a bunch of other female defendants. And um, depending on her security level, if she stays out of trouble, she will remain in these dormitories. Otherwise, she could wind up in confinement, um, which is solitary or what have you. But that remains to be seen. The problem she's going to have is she's entering a totally different society in the prison system. There's a hierarchy amongst the prisoners that she is going to have to fit in with. And depending on her personality and the personality of the prisoner she's around, she's going to have to be extremely careful how she conducts herself. Now, Neely has been prone to violent outbursts. She got, you know, the murder of Chris Hallett was an act of violence, and the other actions that she engaged in prior to coming to Florida were acts of violence. And she is also, from what I understand, ran into problems in the county court or in the county jail. Excuse me. So this means that Neely Blanchard is now looking at having to make adjustments in her behavior in order to prevent problems that would wind up getting her involved in fights, would wind up getting her involved in murder or being murdered or being having a crap beat out of her and stuff like that. This is all dangers people face when they go to any prison system. But in the case of Lowell, this is that much more of a risk. So Neely is a lot of learning to do. She's going to have to um, watch her P's and Q's, or she's going to wind up in serious trouble. And so tonight, that's where we're at. And I'm going to cut this short because, like I said, I got a scheduling issue. I've got things I have to do. And I'm going to judge how I'm going to conduct these sessions in the coming weeks, whether I'm going to get into live streaming or pre recorded. Um, and so please like, subscribe, um, hit, hit the like button and share. And by all means, comment. Let me know what you think of the show and what you think I could do better, and so on and so forth. Now, there are going to be other subjects I cover in the coming weeks. I'm not going to be just a true crime um, live stream anymore. I am going to be um, I'm not going to be. Let me just. Here, put that over to one side. I'm not going to be just doing um, true crime. I'm going to be doing other subjects as well as time goes on. Uh, different aspects. It's more of a touristy thing than anything. I think is the direction I'm thinking about going. But there will be other things too. So the few of you that tuned in live, I appreciate it. Those of you who may come in and when this archives to YouTube, thanks for checking it out. And so with that, I bid everybody a good night, good luck, enjoy your weekend, have a good one, and we'll catch you the next time. Good night.